Newcastle have already had Arsenal's number the last little while.
Yeah, the last couple of times, actually, because they've won each of their last two against Arsenal without conceding. That takes some doing when you consider the firepower that Arsenal have and the creativity in their forward line as well, and they've added Gyökeres too. But as far as Newcastle are concerned, the question is the right one, because they're still sore from losing Isak, but Voltemada's come in, Nick Voltemada, and he's done a little bit just to ease that pain. Scoring at St James's Park, earning the trust and the adoration of that fans is going to go a long way to helping him to get his feet under the table even more quickly. But I think in this game, Newcastle are going to really have to be at their defensive best, because Arsenal will come at them, and they've got the weaponry to be able to do that. And they've got that creativity in midfield as well. This is going to be a very, very tight game, and I don't think there'll be one goal in this one.
What I find interesting, I was at St James's Park for the first time last week, completely blown away by the place, by the way. Great energy. But Eddie Howe went for Anthony Gordon instead of Nick Voltemada, and he just, played his first game and he scored his first goal. Gordon suspended at the time, so wasn't playing domestically. Now my question is, what does he do this weekend? Will we see both of them in the lineup because Gordon's back from suspension?
I think it's possible we could see both of them in the lineup. I think they both offer different things, which also is why Eddie Howe might make a decision to go with one more than the other. I think, obviously, we saw Gordon playing the 9 against Liverpool, and I think that the intensity and the pace he can offer them in that position, when you can imagine a lot of the game at times, or there could be moments in the game where they suffer out of possession, they might need that sort of pace and intensity. I think that may be the reason why he goes with Gordon. Also, Gordon knows the opposition, a bit of familiarity. That said, Voltemada's come in, he's done really well, he's exciting, it's a home game. I think Eddie Howe wants to approach the game where he's focused on what they're going to do, whilst acknowledging you're up against Arsenal.
If you're a defender, what's easier for you, Voltemada or Gordon?
I mean, I don't think either are easier. I would probably say, for me, I wouldn't have enjoyed playing up against someone like Gordon, where you just constantly know they have that pace is just never ending, and you constantly know that even in situations whereby, you clear a ball and you think I'm more favourable to get this. Yeah. They know someone with that amount of pace. That said, Voltemada is not, physically he has the attributes as well. You don't play in the Premier League without a level of high-speed running capacity. That sprint distance as well is important. So I would expect probably both will feature. Likely both will be on the pitch at the same point at some time.
Yeah, I think a lot of us were wondering if he was a stopgap, because of everything that was going on around Newcastle and their search for that number 9. But Gordon spoke, I think, after one of the first games he played there, and said, well, he's kind of enjoying that, and he gave the impression that he wasn't just doing it in the moment because they needed someone to fill that position. It's somewhere that he maybe wants to go. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, since he signed for them, he's set up a goal for his country in the Germany win over. He scored a goal himself. And the reason why I think I would have played him in that game in Europe, because momentum is everything, as we all know, in football. But also, in this game, I would play him because his height is an obvious strength, and Arsenal are so very good at set pieces. But he's got terrific touch. It's the one thing that struck me from looking at games he's played in and doing research and looking at the games in which he's been effective. His touch is excellent. And so, and actually it was through that ability to release players that he was able to set up Serge Gnabry to score for Germany against Northern Ireland. So I think that he could be more of a danger than people might think for Newcastle against Arsenal. And I do think he could be effective in both boxes, given how good Arsenal are at set pieces and free kicks.
I know it's very early on in the season, but given Arsenal's recent history, as Darren reminded us, up at St James's Park, given that Liverpool play 24 hours before them and could open that gap up a little bit more at the top, is this already a situation where they cannot afford to drop any more points?
It's definitely not easy. I think it's where you go. This isn't an easy game. It's going to test our limits. We've been in the wrong end of a result fairly recently against this side. But equally, these are the sorts of games whereby these are the tighter margins where we're now looking at Arsenal to say, you've got to pick up 3 points here. you realistically do want to go and challenge Liverpool for the title.
The key thing is as well that you look at the goal that Isak was able to score. It was an aerial goal. It was a ball into the box, and you've got height in that Arsenal back line, but they weren't able to cut it out. They've got the players who can provide the ammunition for Voltemada. The other key thing about this game is that if you look at where Liverpool are in the context of your question, Liverpool lost last season 2 games on the way to winning the title. They lost 4 in total, but by the time they lost the other 2, the title was won.
Yeah.
That's 6 points they dropped in the entirety of the title-winning campaign, excluding the other 2 games. Arsenal are 5 points behind. As to your point, they can't afford to give Liverpool any more ground. If they were to lose tomorrow and Liverpool were to win this weekend, then suddenly it's a real problem.
Mikel Arteta's team selection is heavily criticised and has been. He now has the squad that many are saying is the one he requires to go all the way in the title race, but he doesn't seem to be getting the selections right. Eze on the bench against Manchester City, Martinelli, who'd scored that winning goal the game before, on the bench as well. In the end, when he was introduced, he did manage to equalise for them against City. It's this time and this kind of game where Arteta, I know he made jokes about playing a little bit with a handbrake on. He made it post one of the press conferences. But this time around, are we expecting to see Eze, who did start and score in midweek? We're expecting him to start?
This is why we do have the depth. We make the changes. Players are motivated to go on and try and take advantage of that. No player wants to be a sub, but we are in a situation now where you play for the top clubs, you have to understand there will be other players that will also, you typically have 2 players in every position and everyone wants to start. Everyone's good enough to start, but only half of you can. Yeah. So that's sort of the nature of it, and therefore it's up to Mikel Arteta to pick who you want.
Arsenal are back in Premier League action this Sunday with a tough trip to St James Park, and preparations are in full swing at the Saba Realty Training Centre. The first team squad have been putting in the work under Mikel Arteta's watchful eye, determined to overturn a poor recent record on Tyneside, where our last victory came in May 2023. With intensity and sharpness on display in training, the players know what's at stake as they look to get back to winning ways against the Newcastle side who always raise the level in front of their home crowd. The focus in camp was matched by the lens of club photographer Stuart McFarlane, who captured every moment of the squad's effort and concentration during today's session. With Eberechi's pushing to start, Bukayo Saka declared fit, and Captain Martin Odegaard also available, there's renewed optimism that Arsenal can head north with both quality and confidence. Now, it's all about turning training ground sharpness into 3 crucial points at one of the Premier League's most testing away grounds.